Howdy, this is Rob. Learning disability and mistakes in leather crafting. Anyway, this is a little leather eyeglass case that I just made the other day. That's my little bit of tooling, a little stamp. Tooling is not one of my strong suits. Every once in a while I'll get a bug at me and try doing some. But more than anything, I just want to keep building stuff. The more I build, the more I get used to repetition, and the more repetition I get, hopefully I'll just get better at it. This one gave me a hard time. Well, it didn't give me a hard time. I gave myself one. And mainly it was right in there, that little part right there. It's only 3 stitches on each side, but I didn't bend the little tips back on that divider before I tried to put it in, and I just kept fighting, trying to glue it and hold it and stitch it. So anyway, this one is probably the leather is probably a 2 to 3 ounce. It's pretty light, probably too light to actually use, but again, it's more about the repetition of building them. I also found out that this belt loop was a little bit short, at least for the belts I use, because normally I use, my belts are at least 1.5 inches wide, most all of them. And the little plastic tab that came with this, which I can't find right now, is too short. So this next one I'm working on, I made the little tab, belt loop tab, a little longer. All right, here it is. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's the acrylic template that came with this pattern. And it's nice. It's got the holes and it's got the rounded end. So I just extended this new one I got. And so this is what I'm working on now. And this is it. This is the one I made right after I finished that one. This is my, I don't call it tooling because it's, I just used, I drew it in, hand drew the picture, Golden Gate Bridge with the pyramid building in the background, SF. I decided just to wet the leather a little bit, scratch it in with the scratch awl, which it's much easier to do, and it doesn't look half bad, at least, especially compared if I tried to tool all this. Most of my tooling just comes out mushy and not crisp. So anyway, I did that, and this time I did the right steps. I cut out this pattern first. I did this tooling here, and by wetting leather first. I did that part first. Then I sanded all the sides, and then I doubled up a liner to it, so it made it a little bit thicker. So this thing will stand up a little better. And the same thing, I had a problem with this, my stitching. It looks simple, but trying to get it lined up right, and I got it together, and then like I say, I made a longer belt loop. But originally when I did this, the belt loop was coming into these stitches right here. And so I made this belt loop a little too long, so I had to trim it down a little bit, sand it up, and stitch that in there. And you can see the stitching of those, that little eye separator doesn't look very good. But anyway, I got this all done, and I've kind of relaxed a little bit and not been in a rush. I like the liner. Again, I got to work on this. It looks simple, but for me, it has not been. And so I've got the contact cement drying right now. I'm going to glue this up and then stitch it together and see how it turns out. And also sanded the edges pretty well. I stained them and did a little burnishing, nothing fancy yet. I might try a little more once I get it all sewed together. But again, this is it's really a simple project as far as just the amount of steps that go to it. But again, if you don't do the steps right, or if your sequence isn't, I don't know, correct or in the right sequence, you're fighting yourself, and that's what I do on most of my projects. And a lot of it is I just forget. You know, I get really anxious, and I think I kind of got it now, so I try to whip it all together. And I tend to either get ahead of myself or forget something. So this one, so far so good. I'm making this video because actually today I haven't had any anger or frustration as of yet. So this is my Sunday project. I'm going to glue this together, stitch it up, and then maybe I'll make another video tomorrow or the next day. I want to try to make as many as I can just to keep on the roll. Get better at this. Maybe learn how to use some editing software. Just because, like anything, the more I do it, the more familiar I become. I want to say the better I become, but that isn't always the case. Anyway, this is Rob. Learning disabilities and mistakes in leather crafting, they go hand in hand in my experience. All right, later.